today's cup of coffee, we're going to be talking about spirit attachments. And I've got youngest kid here today. He still has teeth, and they weren't able to work him in today to have the extraction. So hopefully next week, and that'll give the antibiotic more time to work. So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
And he's over here busying himself sculpting things. So that's always fabulous.
Trying to. It's just a test.
That's the whole point. You can't.
Look at the nose.
It's like.
Yeah.
Back over this way. Back over this way. There, a little more. A little more. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And what he has done, he has taken an existing ventriloquist dummy head, which was freaky enough in its own right. I always hated those things.
And I always loved them.
Oh, yes, because it annoyed me, and he has lots of Aries in his chart.
No, I just always, the stuff that you did not like, I've always liked.
Because he has lots of Aries in his chart. So what he's doing is repurposing it with a air drying clay, but it will not, it's very temporal. It won't last that long because the air drying clays are not designed to last that long. You have to become very zen with a lot of art.
Yeah.
Enjoy it in the moment. It's a reminder of life on all aspects. But we were talking about spirit attachments, which is different than psychic vampires.
She was like, you got a bit of asshole on you today.
I did. His frequency, his energy, because vibrations, frequencies. I did look into trying to talk about Wave X, which hit, I think it was September the 28th of 2015 was when it was supposed to be, and that it was a matter of photons coming from the galactic center, and it was weird because some of the people with their predictions were in a very roundabout way accurate, but not. I think that they thought it was going to be all this light and love stuff, and the revealing of darkness is never fun. So, yeah. But it was, we have a new moon coming up tomorrow, and that will be on July the 9th, and hopefully that's from what I have, my sources, which is Leo King and others, say that is going to help bring back a connection with positive emotions, which that's a good thing.
Very much so.
To break some of the eclipse energy, because this eclipse cycle was really hardcore. If you didn't have a rough time with it, then you're probably over-medicated.
Or blessed.
Yeah, really. It's like those of us that are painfully aware of every single moment, yeah, and going through it. So that's a good thing. But energies and frequencies, all that does matter. I don't care what science hasn't caught up with the wisdom of the ancients at this point. I mean, when we look at the Indian culture and Ayurveda, and as far as a lot of the Chinese culture and Eastern cultures like that, they understand about frequencies and vibrations, and they use that in a lot of ways of healing, and even as far as bells to ward off evil spirits. So there were certain, vibrations and frequencies that do that. I've always thought of the scene from Ghostbusters where Bill Murray was making the little annoying noises with the piano.
Yeah.
And he's like, it wards off ghosts. They hate this. Well, he may have been right.
They may have.
So everybody's frequency, it's all chemistry. It truly is, only with vibration. It's not that hard. We have sound waves, we have, light waves. There's other things, molecules, atoms, and stuff like that. They're not just hanging about. they're constantly moving. Even in things that are supposedly solid, those atoms and molecules move. It's just that they move more slowly than we do. So
Exactly.
we, experience them as solid. So I don't know why that there are some people that have such a hard time with that concept.
Because they are scared of it. That's just a matter of fact. And they just are stubborn enough in their ways that they think, oh, their way is the only way. Their way of thinking is the only way of thinking, when that's not it.
Well,
That's just not it.
he's over here hitting the clay is what that's. So if you hear strange noises, it's usually youngest kid on some way. But anyhow, his energy was sort of befouled today. And I'm very, very, sensitive to people's frequencies and their energies, and that's just how I'm designed.
And the thing is, I haven't even, said anything bad to her today.
It had nothing to do with what he said. It had nothing to do with his behavior. It was just his vibrational frequency. And it's like, you got a touch of asshole going on there today.
Yes.
Yeah, because I am crude mama. And he's like, he got defensive. And it wasn't that you are an asshole. It's just that your frequency is befouled.
I was just like, I hope I didn't do anything I didn't mean to.
No, he was just, everybody has days. Everybody is subject to different things. It's a matter of walking in empathy and kindness and forgiveness towards one another. And that's why. But within that, when you have, somebody had said something to him that bothered him online. Somebody had said something online that bothered him in reality. Let's put it that way. So that's usually an energy attachment. Because in Scripture it talks about little fiery darts that the devil will throw at you, and barbs and stuff like that. These are little psychic attacks, spiritual attacks, that the enemy, which is negativity, will throw at you, and with those little barbs, they'll hook in. And there are times that we're more, if we let our guard down, we can be a little more sensitive to that. We have those stick in a little bit further than necessary.
Yeah.
So energy attachment, psychic vampires are people that their energy, their own life force energy, their spirit man, honestly has become so contaminated with various and sundry that it can no longer sustain them. So what these people do, they reach out to others. Usually it's this sad sack tale, these tales of woe, and everybody likes to share different things and needs to share different things going on in their life. But when you've got somebody that's going through the same thing 20, 30, 40 years, now that person's got a problem. That ain't you. But if you find yourself feeling exhausted and drained after an encounter with somebody like that, that's a psychic vampire.
Yeah, so basically what happened was I'm making an ARG, and I'd it's this stupid little ARG, whatever, and people are seriously thinking that it's, serious or whatever, then some people get it or whatever, and then some are just flat out rude.
What's an ARG? Explain that.
Alternate reality game, basically meaning it's like a ghost story you're acting out a ghost story in real life in a way.
Okay.
That's all that
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
I mean, it's sort of like, excellent job. Why not? It's creative, it's fun, you're not hurting anyone, you're not trying to purposefully deceive somebody other than in a playful way.
Well, the thing is, the person was, I don't know if they were confused or if they were just freaked out enough that they couldn't, they just wanted to make me feel bad or whatever. Well, they succeeded on that. They were like, you're acting as shit, the story is stupid, whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, what's the point in saying that? If you think that, just not watch.
Well, and these are people in, the internet is a totally different realm. It is a world unto its own. and people are still learning how to navigate the waters of that. And the rules of polite society a lot of times do not apply, although they should apply, but under the guise of anonymity, people say things that they would never say to somebody's face or rarely say to somebody's face for fear of someone knocking them down, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Sometimes a good bitch slap is the correct answer.
It really, truly is. I'm really happy with how this is coming out.
So for it to bother kid that long, and it's like trolls. All of us have had trolls from time to time that people have, they're miserable, and it's their job to try to make others miserable. So that's a sad, sick human being that needs to do a little bit of self-reflection. But also, spirit attachments. Now, what happens with that? When you've got somebody that throws one of those little barbs, they're being used of the enemy, whether they know it or not. And that there is almost like a ribbon that's attached to that dart, and that it's almost like an umbilical cord, to where these energy attachments, and they are enemy attachments, they drain energy also. They feed off of it. It's some kind of cosmic parasite. It's like cockroaches or something. And anybody that's ever worked with Reiki healers or different things like that, you can see them. You can feel them. Unfortunately, a lot of times if you have one yourself, it's very difficult to see for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why it works that way, but I don't know.
I don't know why it works that way either.
So, yeah, there are things, and so what do? You get a can of Cosmic Raid, and you spray. And that spray is to vision yourself just severing that tie. If you want to do it very flamboyantly, maybe in Leo, I do most things flamboyantly. It's just cutting the feeding source. It's like these cats. They need their feeding source cut for a while, too.
They do.
So be aware of that. If you've been around somebody, if somebody has said something and it's bothering you more than it should, first of all, just be aware. It's like, hey, somebody said something, 3 hours later, it's still bothering me. Why is it bothering me? And if you think it's an energy attachment or whatever, rebuke, bind, pray. Visualize yourself picking that thing off of your back and squashing it.
Exactly.
Because it's exactly, if you had giant cockroach on your shoulder, what would you do?
Flip it off.
You would not only flip it off, I'd burn that thing with fire.
No, it's just a flip, squish.
Well, it's one of those that, you don't want to flip it on somebody else. So but fire is always good.
Fire is always good.
And it's where you get what was the little cartoon where they would make the little psychic balls of fire and stuff like that?
I have no idea.
Actually, you do that in Tai Chi, for real. They are energy balls.
Okay.
Here, you're totally, there you go. You had it and then you moved it. A little more this way. There you go.
Its lips are actually turning out really well.
So that's cute in his artistic endeavor.
Yeah.
It wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh! It was one of those other ones. Was it the Airbender or
Last Airbender or whatever?
that they did. They made energy balls. But that is a real
Dragon
thing.
Ball Z?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And then they would throw them at whatever. You really just dropped it. Oh, he did. I had warned him of that. And so it happened. But anyhow.
It's okay. It was just the top of its head. It was just the weird little cup thing.
Always make sure that you have a secure base when you're sculpting anything other than a ladybug.
It was just the weird. It was just.
Okay.
It was just.
So, anyhow, don't have the cosmic cockroaches. Be aware that they're there. Again, your bubble, as far as I always like to do like a mirrored bubble. If somebody's hunting for your energy, to where all they see is themselves, especially trolls and stuff like that, because they don't want to look at themselves. That's the reason that they, target other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, energy attachments. Nobody needs them, nobody wants them, and help others spread the word how that they can defend themselves against these spiritual and psychic attacks.
Yeah.
And
It's fixed.
Kid is going to go in here and put this on a much more firm surface so that he can work on it without dropping it a third time. If you've got paranormal or supernatural experiences, if you've had encounters with UFOs or aliens with or without probing, cryptids, Bigfoot, chupacabra, whatnots, what have yous, if you've had trolls, Green Jay, I'd love to hear more stories about the fairies. If you've had experiences with alternate realities with or without substances, or anything else that you'd like to share, send me an email at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And you all have a beautiful, blessed, bug-free day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.